Seattle eyesight. Is there the high drive? Deep center. Go, go, go. We're out of here. We're out of here. Say ya, playa.
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
And ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Paul Six Stadium here in Haddonfield. It is a brisk but phenomenal Saturday as we get set for 4 championship games in the West Jersey Youth Football League. I keep wanting to say the West Jersey Football League because we've done WJFL all season, but you got to add a Y to that a little bit. And well, today is going to be an interesting day to say the least, and you're going to see a lot of purple in those scoreboards. The Bellmawr Purple Eagles, the number 1 seed in this 90-pound youngster division. They are playing the number 6 seed, Lawrence and the Cardinals. Lawrence is the lowest seed to make the championship round this year. They are a 6 seed entering this contest with a 4-5 record and a plus 60-ish point differential. But I mean, Bellmawr has been the most dominant team in the WJFL this season. They have had over a 600-point differential between all 4 divisions, and the one team that didn't make the playoffs, the 110s, they were at 3-5. They're responsible for the only losses that the entire Bellmawr organizations have had this year. So let's see how it rolls. This is the 4th time in 5 years that a team, an organization in the WJYFL has had 3 representatives in the championship round. It happened with Northern Burlington last year. 3 years ago when we were in Gloucester for the championships, it was the Gloucester Mustangs who got to defend their home turf. And then same happened with Haddonfield all the way back in 2019. As far as we have information for. So we've got an excellent slate of championship youth football this Saturday. I'm Dan Wilkins with David Cohen on the buttons and pokes and prods, and we've got a lot more coming your way here from Paul Sexton Haddonfield right after this.
He's donning the number 34 and the shortstop for this one. First pitch. There's a line drive into center field. That one is going to drop, and it's going to go to the outfield wall. One run will score. Spence is going to make a huge arc around third. She will score to make it 3-0. And here comes the runner to score. It's an inside the park home run for Ella Hayes to make it a 4-0 game. A 3-run inside the Parker to the 2. From Paul Six Stadium, it's the Lawrence Cardinals and the Bellmawr Purple Eagles here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Our first of 4 games this morning/afternoon on what is a brisk Saturday morning, about 10 a.m., just past 10 a.m. here from Haddonfield and Paul Six. It's going to get to a high of 38 today. Nice and balmy here in South Jersey. Looks like Lawrence will be the first one. They will, looks like they're going to kick this one away. Bellmawr to receive. As we said, Bellmawr going into this championship 9-0 on the campaign for the youngsters. Only 5 teams in the 90-pound division for the WJYFL had above 500 records, and 3 of them were either 9-0, like Bellmawr, or 8-1. 2 Central Jersey representatives, Bordentown and Florence, both had 8-1 records. Haddon Township was 7-2 in the young 90-pound division, and then Riverside was 5-4. Lawrence is in a group of 3 that host 4-5 records, Oak Lynn and Hopewell Valley being the other ones. Palmyra and Pittman were at 2-7. New Egypt was at 1-8, and Pemberton was at 0-9. But as we said, 4 teams in this 90-pound division have allowed 100 or less points throughout the season. Bellmawr blows away the field with a 249-46 differential. Bordentown has allowed 77, Haddon Township 62, and Riverside 90. Referee's going to count how many folks are on the field on the Lawrence side.
And everything is cleared and we are ready to go. Lawrence on the left side of your screen in those bright red tops and black pants. Bellmawr on the right in the black jerseys and purple accents. The kick will go about 5 yards, and it will not make the 10-yard threshold. So Bellmawr takes over for their first offensive drive from the 45. A very impressive season for Bellmawr at all levels, whether you're talking about the youngsters in the 125 or in the 90 division, or if you go all the way up to the 14U level and the 160-pound division. Bellmawr has had a record across all 4 campaigns of 29-5. Those 5 losses all come from one division, the 110-pounders. They're the only ones that aren't taking the field for the Bellmawr organization tonight. I'm sure they'll be supporting their friends in the younger and older divisions, but I mean, when you have an organization with 3 levels at an undefeated rate and a point differential that high, it's almost impossible to ignore. Bellmawr setting up in the I form for their first offensive snap from the opposing 45. Hand off up the middle. Finds some traction up to the 38. And the rush for Bellmawr gains 6, and that'll be second down. Bellmawr started out their season with a 27-7 win over Bordentown. Of course, Bordentown, that was their only loss of the season. They went on to have an 8-game winning streak with Bellmawr in the opening week being their only fall. They beat Pemberton, the winless Pemberton club, 26-6 in week 2. 36-12 over Haddon Township in week 3. Now the handoff to the right side to number 20, Johnny Frame on the right side. It'll be 3rd and 3, it looks like. There. And there, QB Acevedo coming back out. Week 4 for the Purple Eagles, they shut out Pittman 20-zip. Week 5 was 26-0 over Bellmawr. I keep messing up here. It's still early in the morning. Riverside. And then they shut out Oak Lynn 25-zip in week 6. Shut out Palmyra again in week 7, 28-0. Their closest game of the year was in week 8 versus Lawrence, the team that they're playing right now, 33-15. It was 3rd and 3. First down marker was at the 35. I don't think he got there. It'll be 4th and 2 for Bellmawr in their first drive. And then week 9 to close out the regular season. Bellmawr kept on the undefeated streak, beating Hopewell 20-6, but I mean, just an incredible run for Bellmawr from week 4, 5, 6, and 7. 4 shutouts in a row, including some on the road as well. You know, it's Hopewell Valley and Palmyra, Florence. I mean, we call it the West Jersey Youth Football League for a reason, because it's West Jersey. We're not differentiating between South and Central. We've got a lot of Central Jersey representatives of Mercer County and Northern Burlington County that are being represented in the WJYFL, even in this championship weekend. 4th and 2. A QB keeper is going to be enough for a first down, and then some. He's in the red zone. Will he find the end zone? He's on his feet to the pylon. Touchdown, Bellmawr. Only took them 3 minutes for their first score of the weekend. As a QB keeper puts the Purple Eagles on the board first, and it's 6-0. They were able to get a nice rush from 37 yards out. And I believe that the younger division, if my prior WJFL experience serves me right, then this attempt would be just a one-pointer. They have it switched around for the younger divisions of youth football. That's how it's worked in the other leagues that we've worked in the past, where especially for the 8 and 10U divisions, A kick is worth 2 points, and a regular conversion like this gets swapped around for a one-pointer. 6-0 Bellmawr. Let's see if the Purple Eagles looked like there may have been some movement on the line, but the PAT works to perfection, and the Eagles of Purple in Bellmawr, they lead 7-0 here early in the first. We'll be right back. Ryan Nutley, who has 3 RBIs so far, is up on deck as here's a fly ball to center field, going back to the wall. It is gone! 3-run home run, Steve Schaefer. He rockets one out, and it's 9-2. First home run for Schaefer this year, the second hit at home by a Scarlet Raptor. Bellmawr gets on the board first with a 35-yard QB scramble on 4th and 2, as they've now got to readjust the ball off the tee. Not only is it breezy, it is cold here at Paul 6th. Right now, the real feel at PVI is 28 degrees. The kick will make it to the 10-yard threshold. It'll go all the way back to the 44. The return makes it to the 45. And the Cardinals, the 6th seed in this 2024 championship weekend, they will have their first offensive drive of the morning. For the 90-pound division, Lawrence started off their season with a 18-7 loss to Haddon Township in Week 1. Week 2 was a 13-12 squeaker loss at home to Florence, and then ended up in Week 3 beating Pemberton 28-0. So they started out 0-2, and then they were able to rebound in Week 3 and in Week 4. And even in Week 4, they lost 25-12 to Bordentown. And then in the second half of the season, 31-6 over Hopewell, 7-6 loss to Riverside. And then Weeks 7, 8, and 9, they shut out New Egypt 24-zip. Week 8 fell to their current opponent, Bellmawr, 33-15. And then closed out Week 9 with a 26-6 win on the road at Oak Lynn. The team I used to work for many years in my younger broadcasting days. Sending a man in motion out to the left side. Now being able to get around the defensive line. Trying to find some substance, but they're not able to get past the line of scrimmage as that rush by number 11 for the Cardinals, Justice McKinney. This will now be set up from the left hash for neutral gain, 2nd and 10 from the 46. So like we said, I mean, Lawrence is the lowest seed to enter this championship weekend. The latter 2 games of this afternoon, the 115s, or I should say the 125s and the 160s, they are all the 2 seed versus the 1 seed. And off to the right side, behind the line of scrimmage. No, he's not brought down yet. He's still on his feet. He's past midfield. He's at the 45. He scampers out of bounds, and a little bit of a jinx from up top allows for a first down rush by number 3, Deshaun Campbell. So Lawrence and the Cardinals do pick up a first down after it looked like he was going to be brought down for a loss of 3 or 4. Lawrence is now able to rebound, and they set up across midfield at the opposing 44. You can see on the right side of your, or I should say on the bottom half of your screen facing us, number 14 for Lawrence, that being Rowan Chavot, wearing that Guardian cap. We saw that in another league that we worked for, their championships a few weekends ago over at Bridgeton High School. That handoff to Chavot with the Guardian cap out to the left side. Still on his feet and finally gets brought down for a gain of 1. Moving from the right side of the field to the left, a little jet sweep action there. Sets up 2nd down and 9 for the Cardinals.
2nd and 9. 3-yard line.
So incremental progress is still progress, and Lawrence still trying to barrel through after what seemed like it was going to be a play for loss, a rush for loss, ends up turning into a monumental gain. As we are nearing the halfway point of the first quarter here in game 1 of 4 of this championship Saturday from Paul Sixth. The low snap ends up creating some disaster for Lawrence, as that will be a loss. Now on 3rd down, as a fumbled snap costs them some very valuable yardage. Of course, some signage across the way is still up for the WIP Turkey Bowl, which was held here on Wednesday between Camden Catholic and Paul Sixth. A lot of our reporters that we work with here at DWB, they were there. Brian Tortella, Tom McGurk. As Paul Sixth cruised to a 42-16 win over the Irish. To the left side. Finding some room at the 40. It's not going to be enough for a 1st down, but it will be enough to at least crack into the deficit a little bit as the rush by number 4, Lyndon Bethia, now sets up 4th and 6.
Be about 4th and 6.
As the Cardinals down 7 early after a 37-yard QB scramble by Acevedo. Allows the Purple Eagles to hop out in front. It's 4th and 6. Clock is running with 3:35 and counting in this first frame. The first of 16, I should say, this Saturday. Saw some movement. However, the ball gets botched. Now he's all the way back and on 4th and 6. Bellmawr stops Lawrence in its tracks. We do have penalty markers down. I thought we might have saw some movement from that left tackle. We do have a Lawrence false start, as I suspected. I mean, hey, for 8U football, 2 penalty flags in the first quarter is certainly always something you want to see. It's good progress, to say the least. This will be spotted just shy of midfield. Bellmawr will be at their own 49 as they start this 2nd drive of this morning contest, of this championship weekend opening contest, breaking the ice, if you will. As this ball will be spotted at the 49. So Bellmawr has had 2 offensive drives so far. The starting point of those have both been in very favorable positions. And as is the nature of 8U football, that might remain the case throughout this contest. Just considering there's no Jake Elliott's in 8U football. You know, we saw that first onside kick by Lawrence didn't travel the 10-yard threshold. That one gets about 6. This will go to the 44. And this will be 2nd and mid-range for Bellmawr as they regroup in the huddle. 3 minutes now in the first quarter. If you check our scheduled broadcasts for the remainder of today, yes, we will be here for all 4 games, and that'll be especially important for both the Lawrence and Bellmawr fans, as Lawrence is represented in the next contest versus Pemberton in the 110-pound championship. And after that, Bellmawr has a stake in the 125 and 160-pound championships. Bellmawr versus Northern Burlington at 2, and for the final game of the day versus Hopewell Valley at 4 o'clock. Bellmawr is the 2 seed. That is the only game where Bellmawr is not the 1 seed in that championship. Two undefeated teams in the 160 bracket versus Hopewell Valley. Hopewell being the 1 seed, Bellmawr being the 2. But in the two other championship games that Bellmawr has their feet dipped into, they are the number 1 seed, especially in that 125 game as well. We talked about earlier Bellmawr as an organization, 29-5 throughout all 4 divisions. The only team that has any losses is the team that's not here, the 110s. And they missed I believe they made the playoffs, but did not advance past the first round. 1st and 10, new set of downs from the 41. Under center, this will be a keeper, looking like almost a triple option. Some big hits. So a gain of 4. And they'll line this up from the left hash at the 35. Actually, the 36, looks like. Under 90 seconds left in the first quarter. Clock is stopped at 1:28 as the runner went out to the left side.
Second down.
2nd and 6. Pitched back to the right for Frame. This is big trouble. He gets all the way back for what will be a loss of maybe 10 plus yards. He's all the way back at the 45. And a monumental loss.
Player shaken up on the field. Slow to return to his feet.
We do have a Bellmawr player down. Clock is stopped with 1:07. So Bellmawr out to the races early with a 7-0 lead here late in this first quarter. A 37-yard rush from the quarterback was the first action of the game. Lawrence had some momentum on the other side of the field, but their drive stalled out. And it looks like Bellmawr, if they do not get some big help, if they don't get some big help, they might send this ball right back in Lawrence's direction. 1:07 in the first. Now with the clock running again. Ball is spotted at the 44. It'll be 3rd and 14. Handoff up the middle, diving forward. Not going to get too far on that one. And in what is a rushing-dominated game, Bellmawr needs some big yardage here, as they'll probably let this clock run down to the end of the first quarter. But it will go to 4th and 12. 15 seconds remain. Looks like these guys are going to let the clock run out to the end of the first quarter. So at the end of 1 from this championship icebreaker on Saturday, it's Lawrence 0, Bellmawr 7. We'll be right back after this on DWB. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Returning to you from Paul Sixth High School, it's Lawrence 0, Bellmawr 7. As we open up this championship Saturday with a nice one. A pass to the left will be incomplete. So a 4th and long, and the rare pass attempt of Bellmawr and the Purple Eagles results in a turnover on downs.
Stay here at Paul VI.
So Lawrence will take over after the incompletion on their own 43.
Still hanging around the stadium here. We have a Don't Face Radio 94 WIB here Wednesday night for the 26th. Paul VI and Jamie Gatlin.
So Lawrence down by 7 here early in the second quarter, getting themselves situated here as we start off the second quarter. Trying to find some balance on the offensive side. They have forced Bellmawr into a very nice defensive stop. Out to the right side. Will end up being maybe a loss of 1. That didn't get too far on the rush. It looked like by number 41, Alexander Marshall, if I recall correctly.
We have Lawrence player down on the field.
We do have a Lawrence player down. And the Bellmawr coaching staff also coming out to attend.
Also got a yard on first down and 10, so when play resumes, 2nd and 11. And for the young Lawrence player there, dinged up a little on the last play.
And they'll let the clock run again after the Lawrence player receives his assistance. So 2nd and 11, a 1-yard loss on the last play. They're lined up at the 42-yard line. And we got penalty markers. Finger pointing in both directions. It will be called a false start against the Cardinals.
2nd and 16.
So after a 1-yard loss in the last play, that'll be another penalty of 5 yards. And Lawrence, with some movement on the offensive line, does not make their situation any easier here early in the second quarter.
Well, it's just about the 38-yard line.
Snap goes to the right side. Gets marked down around the 40. Looks like he gets a little bit back to normal. That carry was actually by number 46, Bryson Rice, it looked like. So Lawrence going with a few folks in their backfield to help out the Cardinals.
Right now.
Lawrence looking to get some traction. They're on 3rd and long in what is their 3rd drive of the afternoon. They trail 7-0. Sending a man in motion. Again, snap is a little bit low, but they're able to get something out of it. He's got somebody to his right side and finally gets taken down for what will be a loss of 1. So Lawrence will certainly have their, I guess you could say their hands in a bind as they deal with this situation. 4th and 15. They will do what the youngsters do here in youth football. They'll go with the punt option, and I believe that moves the ball 25 yards. So Bellmawr again will take over.
7 and a half change. and 10 from their own 46. But we do have the GBI snack stand is open for your food and beverage requirement. Directly below the press box, so we do thank the staff and faculty here at PBI for their hospitality.
So Bellmawr starting their drive from the 46. 7:39 left in the second quarter. That's where Bellmar's starting out.
The handoff stays in the middle. Slip out.
Handoff gets about 2 yards. I'll tell you, it's hard to see these jersey numbers with the kids so small up here. It's not like I need glasses or anything. I've got 20/20 vision, but it is hard to see, especially with the jerseys being so scrunched up. You can see basically half the number. You see more of the back plate than you do their actual jersey. The only name we've even mentioned so far is Johnny Frame, number 20, who's received a handful of handoffs here in this first half of the 90-pound championship. Handoff to it looks like number 14 that time, Connor Haran.
Looks like Haran got all that time on the carry. Spotting the ball at the opposite 48-yard line.
Start of mid-range. The good news is that if I do say a name wrong, or if I do say the wrong name and one of our friends and cohorts in the broadcast booth repeats it throughout the speakers at Paul Six High School, if the parents give them a dirty look, then we know we got it wrong. So it's 3rd and 4. Bellmawr lining up with the 48 from the left hash. We're halfway, almost halfway through the second quarter. I keep looking at 6 minutes left and thinking it's a 12-minute quarter. Of course, we did 34 high school football games this past season, 33 of them in the WJFL. So some very nice some very nice action on the snap. That should be enough for a first down, and the referees are signaling as such. Again, they don't need to go crazy in the first, in the first couple of plays. Yeah, the first touchdown was of 37 yards and was of the longer variety, but you don't need that in this kind of championship game. Lawrence knows that they need some of those breakaway plays. They need some more action to get going. But if you're Bellmawr right now, it's early, but you're in the driver's seat. You're the kind of guy who, at the moment, is just worried about getting enough yards for a first down. Even if you get 4 yards every play, 3 yards every play, for crying out loud. If you're able to get those first downs consistently, then that will be something that'll help your case, especially in a level of youth football that is focused on those fundamentals, the very early fundamentals of youth football. You're not worried about a specific playbook right now. We're not Peyton Manning talking about 46 slants and, shotguns to the left and, gator twos and stuff like that. The quarterback's not yelling Omaha under center. This is a very fundamental level of youth football. Once you get to the second 2 games today, the 125s and the 160s, you're going to see those elements of high school football start to shine more with the bigger hits and, attempting PAT kicks. And it's always nice to see flashes of that attempted in the younger levels, because remember, the younger kids, they're very impressionable. They're very much influenced by the divisions that are older than them, and their friends and brothers that end up playing in the older levels of youth football. The rush to the right side by number 10, Cruz Wright, ends up getting up to the 34, and it'll be 3rd and short for Bellmawr. But yeah, like we said, I mean, it feels like week 0 of the WJFL season was yesterday with our triple header down in Gateway, Clayton, and Paulsboro. I mean, that was an excellent showing. All 3 games were great. Kip got their second franchise win in history. It was over Gateway 16-0, and then Collingswood and Clayton had a barn burner game where 2 running backs, one for each team, scored all 8 touchdowns combined. Rush over the middle First down marker is at the 31. I don't think they reached that, but it will be close.
Lord marking fourth down. They did not reach the line of game. Fourth and one.
And it'll be 4th and 1.
Sneak action.
Yeah.
Easiest thing to pick up the jersey number from up here. And this one sent back from the sideline.
We were talking about earlier about, I was just saying a couple minutes ago about how the kids are so impressionable. Well, they might be impressioned by our friends at the Philadelphia Eagles if they decide to go for some sneaky action here on 4th and 1. Bellmawr looking to keep the drive alive with just under 3 minutes left in the first half. Handoff over the middle. I don't know. This will be close. Bellmawr wants it, obviously.
Okay.
It will be a first down, Lawrence. First down, Bellmawr. Lawrence kind of up in arms about that. You can see some of their coaches on the sideline not thrilled with that call of a first down.
Brett set it down here from the Lawrence 31-yard line.
So group of coaches not exactly thrilled with the call. We now reset at the 31. Bellmawr sends a man in motion. He stops in the middle of the line, and now they send another man in motion. Got 3 men in motion in general. And we've got penalty markers here. That play was kind of doomed from start to finish. I don't think they had the right things rolling. I don't think they had the right parts in order. And they sent 3 men in motion. I was going to say, was it going to be an illegal shift? But it does knock Bellmawr back 5 yards to 1st and 15. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Of course, these 8-year-old kids are not going to be driving anytime soon, but their older brothers and siblings, they might be. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey state driving test with Harper Driving School pass on the first attempt. If you'd like to book an appointment, visit today at Suite E of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, right off of Lambs Road. Handoff on 1st and 15. Now dropping back to number 9, Cole Curcio. They at least get their... So Bellmawr does burn their first timeout. We'll stay here for just a second as the gain on that rush gets them about a yard. And it looks like that'll be all she wrote for that as Bellmawr burns their first timeout of the half. We'll be right back. It's Lawrence 0, Bellmawr 7 at the tail end of the first half. Returning to you on the air from Paul 6 High School. A rush to the right side. Yeah, so he's rushed out of bounds.
Closer. Original line. Like 3rd and 11.
So again, that false start penalty ends up being quite a big hamper for Bellmawr in this drive because they haven't been able to get back to within 10 yards throughout this set of downs. So the last thing that you want is to have your drive that could get you another score before the half taken away. because of that one penalty, thanks to a convoluted play on the first play on that set of downs. Here comes a pass to the left side. It is incomplete on a hop. Looks like the intended receiver on that play. Wow. It was intended for frame. Lawrence has a player down. And Bellmawr leads 7-0. Don't forget, on Thursday, December 5th at 5:30, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting will reveal our 2024-25 winter schedule. It already feels like winter right now, but stay tuned as from inside the DWB headquarters, we'll be presenting you our entire 2024-25 basketball schedule. We've got teams from all over South Jersey in the Burlington County League, the Colonial Conference, the Tri-County Conference, and the Olympic Conference. All of the big four South Jersey conferences are getting represented here this week. Here this year, including the Cape Atlantic. It'll be a fun season for us in 2024-25 winter season, and we're going to be breaking barriers that we have not done before on DWB, and it'll be certainly something to watch. Show starts at 5:30 on Thursday, December 5th, if you've got some kids in high school that might be getting some basketball coverage this winter. 4th and 11, Bellmawr attempted a pass. They'll do another to the right side. It is short, incomplete, intended for Curcio. And another turnover on downs for the Purple Eagles sets up Lawrence with 87 seconds remaining in this first half. So right now, the situation for Lawrence is that you want to tie up this game before the half. You will get the ball back to start the second half, so it's not a matter of incredible urgency. But the last thing that you want is to have what could be a game-tying drive squandered because you weren't urgent enough on offense. You've got 1:27 left. You've got a chance to tie this game up. I mean, a 4-5 team versus a 9-0 Bellmawr team on paper doesn't seem like the best matchup, but right now these guys are holding steady with where they're at, and Lawrence is holding Bellmawr accountable. We've got a rush. We've got a breakaway. We've got a man at the 50 all the way across midfield. A huge rush for Lawrence as the Cardinals, after picking up a large gain, looks like of 24 yards on the play.
Yeah.
Lawrence calls a timeout. The officials, the timeout right now is for the injury, but Lawrence called a timeout before the officials blew the play dead for the injury. So we'll see how they manage this. Of course, with Thanksgiving gone, now it seems like all of our attention is shifting to the basketball season.
Banged up there. Well, that loss, I think he was responsible for first down. First down there for the Cardinals.
After the 24-yard gain, Lawrence does get a first down across midfield at the 48. Clock is running again at 1:15. I think because it was an injury timeout, they did not charge that first timeout to Lawrence. And so we'll put that one back on the board. First and 10 from the 48. Dropping back on the low snap, now looking for some room across the line of scrimmage. Getting some great blocks on his offensive line allows him to get 8 more yards. And now Now Lawrence calls that timeout because remember the first time an injury timeout preceded the team timeout, and now Lawrence picks up their first timeout of the afternoon, or not of the afternoon yet. We still got an hour 15 before that. We'll be right back. 7-0 Purple Eagles over the Cardinals here at Paul Sixth. Seven nothing Bellmawr. Lawrence comes back from a timeout with 38 seconds left, their first of the half. High snap gets fumbled. Ball is still alive. Now trying to get past the line of scrimmage. They do. And how about this for a monumental rebound? He is out of bounds at the 23. And that's the second time tonight that that situation has popped up where a player fumbles the ball way back there and then is able to rebound, find some flaws and imperfections in the defensive scheme, and is able to break through for great gain. There at the 25 as he went out of bounds, and now with under 30 seconds remaining, the strategy of hugging the sideline seems to be a successful one. Lawrence getting ready to go. Clock is running again. 22 seconds now here at the end of the half. He's in trouble. He pitches it forward. He pitched it forward, but now, hold on here. Ball came out, but I think because he pitched it forward, they're going to rule it as an incomplete pass. Kind of an interesting play there. Lawrence saw that their QB saw that he was in trouble and then tried to find the nearest man that he could find that was open, and then the ball came out. So that was pitched back to Deshaun Campbell. We said Lawrence has 2 timeouts remaining. All right, so they will add 5 seconds onto the clock for 15 seconds now. Lawrence still backed up to second and long after their QB was rolling. They're trying to figure out something. And now the whistles fly. Lawrence does call a timeout. Their second of the half. So they do burn their second after all. They trail 7-0 as a bit of a confusing sequence of events leads us to the tail end of the first half. Here from Paul Sixth. We'll be right back. All right, so after a bit of confusion, we return to you with 15 seconds remaining in the first half. Lawrence called their second timeout. Out to the right for 46. He's able to cut to the left. He's got to get to the sideline or Lawrence will be forced to call another timeout. That was again rushed by Bryson Rice. The clock stops with 5 seconds remaining. I don't think he got out of bounds in time. Yeah, I think just from our kind of obscured angle up here in the press box, Lawrence calls their last timeout as 5 seconds remain. They did not get a first down. First down markers all the way up at the 15. And Bellmawr looking to hang on to a one-possession lead here in the second quarter of this championship opener. Remember, Lawrence sticks around in the black and red for the 1:10 game. They play Pemberton for the 12 o'clock game later on today. Back to it for what could be the final play of the half. What probably will be the final play of the half before they get the snap off. False start comes in with 4 seconds remaining.
Remaining in the first half.
So Lawrence will need some 11th hour miracles here in the end of the first half to get on the board. Bellmawr got on the board early on in the first quarter. Let's see what they've got in the tank. 4 seconds remain. They're on 3rd and 12 after a false start. They drop back. They bring it to Rice. Rice will throw. It is incomplete, and they do not have enough time. The clock hit 0 before the ball came down, and Lawrence will trail at the half. Bellmawr is up by 7. However, they have kept it close. We'll be right back in just a few minutes as we take a halftime break here from Paul Sixth in Haddonfield. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Excuse me, Goldberg is a shortstop tonight, but he had a 400 average in 2023 as a junior. A homer in each of his sophomore and junior campaigns, 331 career mark and a 430 career slugging percentage. And speaking of home runs, there's a fly ball to left, and it's gone! Devin Goldberg rocket to left, and it's 1-0 Bridgewater. We were just talking about the long ball, and he stomps on the plate, mobbed at home, and Goldberg, the leadoff man, with a swing of gold. It's 1-0. And this is going to bring up Andrew Petrick, who has a single in this game. And here's a fly ball popped up right field side. And it's fair. It's fair. They're going to throw to second for try to get this play, the force out. They got him, but the game is tied. How about it for Woodstown? They complete the comeback to make it 8-8. So now there is one out after Kubat let it fall in right, and because the bases were loaded, you know what? That's a very smart play. We'll lead it off for the Senators. Chase Rollins, the player manager for CHP, gets it started with a ball upstairs, and we are underway in game 1. 1-0. That one is hit well out towards left, and it is gone off the top of the goalpost. Shane Adamski with a thunderous start to his playoff series. Second pitch of the game, a solo homer to left, and before I could even write the first name down in my scorecard, it's 1-0. Launches one foul. See, Mostero's doing us a service here. Or excuse me, D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro is doing us a service here. He's letting us have this conversation by having a long at-bat. But a lot of people are still caught up in the D1 or bust mentality. Listen to this crowd. Listen to this crowd. We'll talk about that later. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Clapping it up here for the Roadrunners. 2-2. Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! 3-run homer! D'Alessandro! And it's a 1-run game at the crack of the bat. 5-4. 3-run shot to center field. Trailing towards the right center, and the cleanup man does exactly what the position orders. Cleaning up. And he does it incredibly well with a 5-4 game. He battles for 11 pitches and makes
All right. Welcome back. We're in the third here from Paul Six High School. A very close opening matchup here in the championship weekend. That kick's not going to get far. Lawrence is going to return it. Cardinals are going to start out very well, but I was surprised at that. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Some birthday wishes going around here in the start of the second half, but Bellmawr got their first score of the game on a 37-yard touchdown rush.
Here today named Colucci.
37-yard QB scramble was able to get into the end zone. But Lawrence with very good field position to start this 85 or 90-pound championship game. High snap goes to the right for Rice. He'll get 2 or 3 yards.
Gain on the place is down and 10 for Lawrence.
So Lawrence starting to make a dent, at least in that field position. However, that last play did not give them any gain. That was, a rush by Alex Marshall, not by Rice. Dropping back again. Here comes another rush. He's got blockers to the left, but now it's all Bellmawr. He's got a first down and getting tripped up out of bounds. Again, Bryson Rice is going to bring this into the red zone, and the Cardinals, for the first time tonight in the red, have reached the red. Very dominant first down for the Cardinals as they look to get on the board here in the third quarter. Rush out to the right again for Marshall. Marshall trips up, a stiff arm to the face. He stays on his feet, diving forward to the pylon. He did not get into the end zone, but he might be all the way up at the 1. Again, didn't get into the end zone, but he got about as close as you can get to the end zone, as Lawrence is only maybe a foot or two away from tying this game, if they can also convert on the PAT. All right, they are at the 1, 3 feet, 36 inches from the end zone. Lawrence lining this one up. Bellmawr in a very, very strict goal line blitz. Here in the early stages of the first half, very favorable field position for Lawrence to start the drive, might cap off in a touchdown. Let's see what the Cardinals can do. Trying to dive forward, weren't able to get there as they tried to scamper out to the left and find room outside of the defensive line. It was unsuccessful. However, they do still have a few more opportunities after that. Yeah, they lost a yard. 2nd and goal from the 2.
Lawrence setting up a goal line defense here. And Lawrence is driving deep.
Lawrence is ready to go. The ball came out on the snap.
Let's take a look.
Wow, Bellmaur's got it. Bellmawr picks up a fumble recovery as Lawrence from the goal line loses the ball. Lawrence, after what seemed like a paused play, wasn't very clear when the play started. And Bellmawr somehow recovers it on the 2. Now, this does create a bit of an odd situation. And now you can see the Lawrence coaches coming out to kind of sort this situation out. Lawrence coaches Dre Campbell, Tyler Julius, Antoine Graves, and Joseph McKinney. As Lawrence is, they're trying to get this situation figured out, but obviously some very heated discussions going on there.
Coaching staff. 7:32. Bellmawr is one of the first deep in the road territory.
Bellmawr is at the 5-yard line.
And all things in the middle.
The loss.
He
He might have gotten a yard. So Bellmawr, not exactly. I mean, they got the fumble recovery, which is great, but now you've got to traverse this entire field. You do have a lot of time to do it. The only problem is, I was going to say, it's Lawrence lost a possession, but if I'm looking at it from a Cardinals perspective, you can't turn back the clock. Now what you got to do is you just have to make sure that they don't get a first down, because if they go with a punt option, or even better if you're the Cardinals, a turnover on downs, guess what? You're right back in the red zone with the first down marker at the 15-yard line, rather. So Bellmawr backed up, now trying to get out of it. Won't be enough for first, but it will be a solid gain of 6 for the Purple Eagles. And they get this one up to the 12, which will be 3 yards short of a first. Again, first down markers maybe a hair ahead of the 15. And now the ball being spotted at the 12-yard line gives Bellmawr 3 yards to go as they are trying to escape their own end zone and get themselves solidly in their own territory. Handoff will be short. That'll set up fourth down. Short by about 2 yards.
So it's going to be 4 short.
The rush again was by John Frame.
Frame on the carry.
So this sets up somewhat of a precarious situation.
Coaching staff.
With 5:30 and counting in the third quarter, we've barely seen any movement. Lawrence had very good field position to start their first drive of the third quarter, but it was taken away at a goal line fumble after a very convoluted play. Bellmawr making some substitutions on offense and some late personnel changes. They're at the 14-yard line. 4th and short, and penalty flags come in. It'll be a false start on Bellmawr. I think Bellmawr here, it would be in their best interest. Think about it this way. You're at 4th and 6. You're at your own 9. Think about it just from a mathematical perspective. You get the punt option and you go 25 yards. That's exactly what they're doing here. It will set Lawrence up outside of the red zone. And I like what they're doing here. They're up by 7. And in the world of youth football, it pays to be aggressive. It pays to be a little bit audacious, if you will. But at this level, it's unlikely that Bellmawr would have converted on 4th and 6. So now, this is the right decision for Bellmawr here. Lawrence was at the 2-yard line when they fumbled the ball away and they fumbled the possession away.
now you're kind of bringing everything back to square one. This is almost deja vu of how this first drive of the third quarter started, except they're a little bit further up. They're at the 29, and they're still 9 yards away from the red zone. But if Bellmawr had gone with that aggressive option and went for it on 4th and 6, if they don't convert, which at this level, you're unlikely to convert on a play like that, especially if you go for a pass, then Lawrence is right back where they started. It's like giving candy to a baby. These guys are up the middle at the 25. Ball came out again. Lawrence has it this time. Cardinals are able to stay alive in this drive midway through the third. Gain of 4 on the prior play. They're at the 25. And Bellmaur's drive was doomed after a false start penalty. As the folks this morning are lining up along the metal chain link fence of this Paul VI Stadium, as Lawrence is going to look to tie the game for the folks on the other side of the field. Here comes a rush to the right side, QB keeper. He's up inside the red zone. He's got some daylight, and the whistles finally blow at the 18-yard line after a very successful rush for 7 yards by number 3. That being Deshaun Campbell, a very familiar name in this 8U Lawrence roster. Lawrence being very conservative on this time management here. Just trying to find any way to make this drive a successful one. High snap. Rolling out to the left. He's in trouble. The offensive line collapses. He is going to be brought down for a monumental loss. The whistles finally blow at the 30-yard line for what's going to be a loss of 11 yards. And Bellmawr breathes a sigh of relief as they pick up a huge knock against the Cardinals. I mean, this game has been shaping up to be who can make the least amount of mistakes. And it's been a defensive gauntlet so far just because some of these teams have been hurting themselves with these false start penalties. In fact, we haven't seen any penalties called outside of false starts or illegal shifts. We haven't seen any holding. We haven't seen any, personal fouls of the like. It's been very simple, fundamental penalties. It's 2nd and very long, 2nd and 20, and they pick up another loss.
Player down on the field. Sit right here.
Another Lawrence player is down with 1:41 in the third. So if you're Lawrence right now, if your coach is Campbell, Julius, Graves, and McKinney, you kind of have to start doing the math in your own head now, where they're at the 35-yard line. It's 3rd and what's going to be 24. All right, 3rd and 26 it looks like. So either way, it's 3rd down in a long, long way. Your question is, remember, oh yeah, Florence and Cinnamon from earlier this year. Florence punted on 3rd and 35. And they didn't even make the punt back to the first down marker for Cinnaminson. 1:35 and counting. The cowbells are ringing. Where's Christopher Walken when you need him? It's 3rd and long. Dropping back is Rice. Rice pump fakes in the pocket. Now rolling out to the right side. He is pushed out of bounds at the 31. It will be well short
of even anywhere close to a first down. It'll be 4th and long. It's 4th and very, very long. Fourth and 22. They're at the 31. Late in the third quarter, Bellmawr leads by 7. A handoff to Rice on 4th and long will not fall, and that'll be a turnover on downs. So Bellmawr gets another step closer to this 90-pound championship if they can hang on in these final few drives. Remember, when we talk about clock management in youth football, this came up a couple weeks ago for championships for another league down in Bridgeton. Um, a big talking point that came up was, well, the the entire game in 8U football is clock management. The entire game is clock management. You've got 11 minutes left at the moment if you combine the third quarter, what's left of it, and the second quarter. And then after that, well, I mean, guess what? You got, like we said, right now, those guys, those coaches on the sideline, they don't see 113 on the scoreboard. They say 11-13 because that's how much time is remaining in regulation. And if you're Bellmawr, you have to space that out perfectly to prevent Lawrence from getting really any possession time at all. You can do it if you don't break away for 70 yards. Speaking of a breakaway, a couple of misdirections. He's at midfield, hugging the far sideline towards the Lawrence sideline. He's all the way down at the 31. First down, Bellmawr for a monumental gain. What an incredible gain of 40 plus yards. He traverses the field for, looks like 48 yards. And it's 7-0 Bellmawr in a defensive gauntlet, but the Purple Eagles just got a big breakthrough in trying to get their lead a little bit better cushioned, if you will. Handoff to the right side. Some whistles come flying in after a gain of 2. Looks like the rush was by number 20, John Frame. And it's a little bit more than 2 yards. They're spotting this at the 29. 28, 29, right in the middle there.
Between the 28 and 29-yard line.
So in a quarter that started with Bellmawr up against the wall with Lawrence in the red zone, they pick up a goal line fumble and 2 turnovers on down later. Bellmawr is now in the opposite situation. They've got 5 seconds left. Referee in the middle there. That will end the third quarter as Bellmawr and Lawrence remain scoreless for another frame. And Bellmawr is 10 minutes away from a championship if this lead holds, but Lawrence is looking to interject at the 11th hour. We'll be right back in the 11th hour. It's 11:21 here from Paul Sixth. We'll be right back.
And 7.
The Paul 6 logo and the blue and white eagle represents the 50-yard line here at PVI in Haddonfield, but the purple Eagles are ahead as a rush to the right side. Ball comes out. He hangs onto it as looks like that might have been number 10, Cruz Wright. And how about Lawrence? A taste of your own medicine as Lawrence lost a costly fumble in the early stages of the third quarter, and now in the early stages of the fourth, the reverse has occurred, and Bellmawr loses the possession. I mean, after the running back there for Bellmawr went 48 yards across the field, thought they had a chance to change things up a little bit. And I thought Bellmawr might have gotten into the end zone to extend the lead. But now Lawrence has a breath of fresh air and a new lease on life, if you will, here in this 90-pound championship. 9:49 remains. That was the first play of the fourth quarter. And that was not the note that Bellmawr wanted to start on here in the final stanza.
Defense now as Lawrence picks up the fumble.
So now Lawrence being kind of in the driver's seat here. Handing it off to the right side for number 3. Getting some room to the left. Swallowed up at the 36 on the rush by Campbell. While we're at it, while they sort all of this out, we like to do this with the youth football games where we read off the rosters of the of both clubs, of both teams, so that everybody can get some representation, whether they're on the field or not. Starting off with the visiting Lawrence team, you have Agam Sumal, Alexander Marshall, Amir Graves, Andre Alford Jr., Bryson Rice, Cameron Wilkes, Carter Wilkes, or Wilkies, Deshaun Campbell, uh, Elian Jones, Farron Wolford, Isaac Rice, Jaden Martin, Jackson Labato, Jabril Miley, John Henry, Josiah Davis, Josiah Dixon Jackson, Justice McKinney, Caden Carter, Liam Dowers, Logan Gorfine, Lyndon Bethia, and hold on here. We'll hold on to that after the play as the rush gets about 2 yards to the right side for the Cardinals. The third down after the rush by Marshall. So after that, Lyndon Bethia, Mason Sapp, Nasir Williams, Nicholas Johnson, Noah Allison, Rowan Chauveau, and Zamari Silas. Again, coached by Dre Campbell, Tyler Julius, Antoine Graves, and Joseph McKinney. Lawrence from the right hash, a little bit closer to the press box here at PVI from the 37-yard line. They have 7 minutes and 55 seconds remaining here in regulation as Lawrence and Bellmawr in a defensive gauntlet as it has been all night. It was just in the first 3 minutes of the game that Bellmawr got their only score, a 37-yard rush by the quarterback after dropping back in the field earlier in the play. Bellmawr instructing their defense as such as now a direct snap to Rice. He'll run this one out of the Wildcat. Now he's got some more room. He's going to get a first down and then some. He's up at the 42.
43-yard line. It looks like that's going to be enough for another Lawrence. First down.
And now Bellmawr again getting backed up step after step. We were talking about before this show started about the Bellmawr Club having 3 teams in this WJFL championship. That has happened 4 times in the last 5 years. Northern Burlington did it last year, and 2 teams that are no longer in the WJYFL, but Gloucester and Haddonfield, they are both represented on this list. Of course, we were at Gloucester 3 years ago in 2021. And then Haddonfield did it back in 2019. Haddonfield was the only team in the past 5 years that we have data for to win 2 championships out of their 3. All the other teams in that list, Northern Burlington and Gloucester, went 1 and 2. So they got 1 out of their 3, which is better than none. but Lawrence is looking to disrupt the pattern here early. They are the lowest seed entering this championship with a 4-5 record at the 6th seed. On first down, he gets dropped back at the line of scrimmage as he tried to traverse the maze that was the Bellmawr defensive line, but it did not come out to perfection. It did not work out. As this is the kind of situation where Lawrence is looking at the clock and figuring out how fast do they have to go. And Lawrence will burn their first timeout. I'll tell you, that will cost them if they don't score on this drive. Because then, if you think about it in the long term, Lawrence now having 2 timeouts left, you do the traditional NFL style where first down, rush, timeout, second down, rush, timeout, and so forth. Well, I think Lawrence is putting all their chips, they're moving all their chips forward here. You know, they're making sure that they do not go home empty-handed here. So let's see what they've got. We'll take a quick break. 7-0 Bellmawr over Lawrence here midway through the 4th.
5:50 to go.
Seven nothing Bellmawr. If you're joining us, it is a great time to do so. As the righty throws over the middle, Rice incomplete, intended. Wow. Looks like that was number 14 again, the intended receiver, that being Rowan Chavot. As the ball was placed perfectly, but just wasn't able to bring it down on the high arcing pass. And the incompletion brings us now to 3rd and 11. They had a 1-yard loss on a sack. Then the incompletion. You can see the ball hasn't been flying too much today. And on a windy day, the amount of passes that these guys are attempting is even fewer. I'd imagine that once we get to the 125 and 160 games, that even in a style of play that is a little bit more favorable to the pass, you're not going to see a whole lot of it. After the incompletion, clock is stopped at 5:43. Now rolling out to the left is Marshall. He's got some room up to the left side. He's across the 50. He is all the way up to the 43, and this might be enough for a first down. It should be. It is. Lawrence picks up a big break there as they get maybe about 20 yards on 3rd and 11. They roll the dice and they roll doubles. Picking up a first down here as we reach the midway point of the 4th quarter. First and 10 for the Cardinals.
Here in Bellmawr territory.
Don't forget, all of our broadcasts from today will be archived on DWB, including the 110, 125, and 160-pound championships. They are all scheduled already. You can watch those archives. And here comes a fumbled snap that brings Lawrence back to midfield for a loss of 8. I mean, it's one thing to have a fumbled snap, but it's even worse to have a fumbled snap with backspin. That's the last thing you want there. It's never a good sign.
2nd and 17.
My apologies, a loss of 7. It'll be from the 49, still in Bellmawr territory. But Bellmawr, like we said, they could win a championship because they made less mistakes. A rush to the left side, towards the Lawrence sideline. No whistles yet. We've got a man still on his feet, trudging forward to the 39, back within 10 yards to the 1st. And they'll line this one up from the left hash at the 39. But a very interesting situation here. So after a 7-yard loss on a botched snap, Lawrence has re-entered the limelight. It is 3rd and 7. They're at the 39. There's under 3.5 minutes to play in regulation. So Lawrence will now start to have to turn up jets, warm up those players, and get themselves into the end zone. Here comes a rush to the left side. They hand it off. It's to Marshall, who's in the red zone, diving forward after being tripped up below the waist. He stays in bounds. It's a first down, so the clock will keep running because he was not marked out of bounds. He is in the red zone, though. I think he's inside the 15. And now Lawrence will have to go up-tempo for the final few plays of this morning opening championship game. I mean, if Lawrence can tie the game, remember, there's 2 parts to this. Not only do they have to score, but they have to get the PAT, which is not guaranteed by any means at this level. Out to the left for Bryson Rice, trying to get through a host of Eagles. Whistles fly at the 14.
2nd down.
So that will be neutral gain. On the rush by number 46, Bryson Rice. We've seen him a handful of times tonight. Lawrence burns their 2nd timeout.
Timeout on the field.
The good thing for Bellmawr, the silver lining for Bellmawr, is that even if Lawrence ties this game, even if the Cardinals do make this a 7-7 game, you have all 3 timeouts. And depending on when they get into the end zone, you can manage that time at your discretion. Lawrence only has 1 timeout. They've been using them sparingly. In fact, they used 2 of them in the first half. If you have them, use them. So Lawrence right now is trying to play the long game. It's the classic strategy of inner 2 minutes football, trying to figure out how much time you can afford to leave on the clock to prevent Bellmawr from getting a breakaway and scoring. Obviously, if they return something for 80 yards, not much you can do about that. But if you give them, like, let's say Lawrence scores right now on, second and 10. Well, then you'd still give them 2 minutes to get across the field, which is very doable. But if you score with 30 seconds left, then the ball is a lot more in your court, and the odds are likely to be in your favor. 2nd and 10. Lawrence inside the red zone, sending a man in motion. This one's over to the right side. This is in trouble, and he is taken down. Number 34, Roman Colucci on the tackle. Tackle made by number 34, Roman Colucci.
Bellmawr.
As the cowbells are ringing here on this post-Thanksgiving Saturday. Inside the 2-minute mark after a loss. It is 3rd and 15 from the... Actually, it's more than 3rd and 15 because they're at the 21-yard line. They are outside of the red zone. Less than 90 seconds remain. Of course, Lawrence in the red and white. The older kids warming up to the left for the 2nd of 2 championship games tonight. That's out to the left. That is going to be snuffed out. And this makes the situation even more precarious for Lawrence. Lawrence will call their 3rd and final timeout as Bellmawr's defense has answered the call at the right time. And the clock is stopped with 1:05. We'll be right back after this here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. A defensive gauntlet gives the Eagles 7 and the Lawrence Cardinals 0. If you're just joining us, you've picked an amazing time to be here with us on this post-Thanksgiving Saturday. It is 4th and 15. The Purple Eagles are one play away, are 15 yards away, and less than a minute away from a championship. Ball comes out. Whatever the result is, it's not going to be enough. The crowd drops dead silent. Whatever the result is,
Drop on that one.
whatever the result is, I think it's a turnover on downs, and Bellmawr is going to win this. Either way, Bellmar's got the ball, and the 90-pound championship is 1 minute exactly away from being in the hands of the black and purple.
With 1 minute remaining in this championship matchup.
That is exactly what Bellmawr needed. It kind of ended on an anticlimactic note as Bellmawr, or rather Lawrence, burned up the timeouts. But I mean, that's just the nature of this game. It's fundamental. They got knocked back on a handful of fumbled snaps, and like I said, Bellmawr was not dominant in this game. Their defense stood up when it mattered. Their defense answered the call. However, this game was a matter of who was able to be 100% when it mattered most.
Snap clock continues to move.
So as they try to bring this game to a close, a fumbled snap just outside of the red zone will give the 110-pounders of Lawrence something to look for vengeance for, if you will. 30 seconds remain here in regulation as Bellmawr, the Purple Eagles, in victory formation, take a knee. And the 90-pound championship will be on the home side this time around. And in a one-score final, it is Lawrence 0, Bellmawr 7.
Final score, Bellmawr 7, Lawrence no score. Your 2024 90-pound.
So Bellmawr picks up their first of potentially 3 tonight. The clock hits 0. And the youngsters in black and gold defend their home turf. And a 7-0 final. That was good. I mean, for what it was worth, for the Lawrence folks at home, you got to give those guys their flowers. 4-5 in the regular season. The 6th seed, they go on the road and beat Bordentown by 9, and then they beat the number 2 seed. They beat the number 3, the number 2, and they were 1 score away, maybe 2 yards away from beating the number 1 seed. So Lawrence really was an unsung hero here. You know, maybe there were some people going into this game thinking that Bellmawr was going to take the driver's seat and just run away, but that did not happen. Bellmawr was able to hang tight, and Lawrence was able to be right there with them. You know, it wasn't a matter of one team was just flat out better than the other. What really came down to the deciding factors of this afternoon's game was just who was able to execute when it mattered. Well, what really sticks out in my mind is that Lawrence fumble on the 2-yard line in the 3rd quarter. That was, I think, the big turning point this afternoon was that, you know, the goal line fumble ends up falling short, causing a turnover, and it ends up, you know, just causing a bad situation for everybody. Bellmawr didn't score in that drive, but the only score of the game came in the first 3 minutes. Everything after that was, you know, kind of just a defensive gauntlet. You know, we talk about it like a broken record, but Bellmawr had 4 straight shutouts from week 4, 5, 6, and 7. They had some tough matchups even with Lawrence in week 8. They beat them 33-15 at home. So in this rematch, in this matinee, if you will, you know, Bellmawr showed that they don't need a powerful offense to win. They need a powerful defense. And at this level, defense wins championships. And you know, as we get to the older levels, yes, we're going to see that that dynamic shift more and more. But the way I see it, Bellmawr won because they executed when it mattered. Lawrence made some mistakes of their own on fumbling the ball, especially at that 2-yard line. But for how Lawrence played, I mean, they held their own versus a team that only allowed 40 points, around 40 points all season. Had the best point differential by a country mile in the WJYFL 90 pounders. So if you're gonna look at the 7-0 score and say that Lawrence still didn't have a good game, then I'd say you're wrong. So Lawrence, the 6th seed, 4-5 in the regular season, they should hold their heads up high because they have a very good team and a very good program. And the reason why I say a very good program is because those fans on the visiting side, they'll be sticking around for the 110-pound game over at noon between the Pemberton Hornets and the Lawrence Cardinals. Don't forget, we are shifting broadcasts throughout the night. We won't be running one continuous stream, but instead we have the 110 pounders at 12, the 125 with NBC and Bellmawr at 2, and the 160s as the sun sets on this evening at 4 o'clock between Bellmawr and Hopewell Valley. So we will introduce our entire crew at the end of the night, but stay tuned as in about 15 minutes, Lawrence will stay on the field versus the Hornets of Pemberton for this 110-pound matchup. Have a good one, folks, and we'll see you guys around.